Another week plus of the intense heat back. Not intense in the terms of really hot or really high humidity, but certainly for this time of year, we're getting close to those records like today. 83 degrees right now, our dew point in the lower 70s. Could be worse. It could also be better. We're almost at the start of fall, which officially begins on the 22nd of September, but we have that summery kind of heat still here. So really, we don't expect a lot of changes. We have a steady forecast going. So sun, heat, but not quite as muggy as it could be. Not much rain, so those dry conditions you've been experiencing, really no relief is in sight from that over the next week. Plus, at least we're heading into now almost the second half of September with still no tropical threats. Only one spot to watch way out in the Atlantic, which I'll show you in a second. But for us, nothing heading our way. Afternoon highs today were as high as 96 at the airports. Note that that is only 2 degrees away from our record high set for today's date at the airport at 2019. In 2019, we hit 98. The average is 89, so we're way above the average. At least this morning, those of you north of the lake woke up, if you woke up early, to temperatures in the 60s. And with that slight break in humidity, especially the farther north you go, it might have felt pretty nice, but a pretty hot afternoon for most of us today. And then we're expecting a lot of the same in the next several days. Right now, we're in the 70s to lower 80s. We do have our high pressure to the north, a surface high, and also our upper features just continuing with a pretty quiet sort of forecast and a very, as I said, steady, what we call persistence kind of forecast, which means there's nothing really moving in to change things a whole lot in the next week plus. Tonight, we'll look for lows in that same range, upper 60s north of Lake Pontchartrain and lower to middle 70s south. This is where we could wake up early tomorrow. And again, not extremely dry, but also not oppressively muggy, but there is some humidity there. Looking into tomorrow and your Sunday, still hot, still sunny, not excessively muggy, and high temperatures I have near 94 or 95 once again. This is your planner for tomorrow. You don't have to plan on a lot of rain, although our models paint in 1 or 2 stray showers, really not enough to actually put in a lot of a rain chance for any particular spot for tomorrow. For example, this is by 11 a.m., pretty quiet. You can see this model has just a tiny flicker of a shower or two. Very isolated by 3 p.m. and then on toward the evening looking quiet, and then same thing heading into Monday. At least some cloud cover it has here and there, as there will be this week some fronts to the north of us, but none actually passing all the way through and bringing any difference in our air feel really. 1 or 2 tiny stray showers showing up Monday. We kept the rain chance at under 10% overall. In the tropics here, way out here, almost at Africa, is where we have our next tropical wave now emerging over the Atlantic. It is messy, it is disorganized right now, but you can see that it will eventually move into probably some slightly less dry air and maybe also an area where it'll have a chance to develop. So that's why the National Hurricane Center hasn't gone really high, but up to 60% now for the chance of development, meaning becoming a depression or a tropical storm. Just tracking really quickly atmospheric rotation with this one. You can see the big red spot showing that stronger rotation. So this one might become a depression or tropical storm Gabrielle. We will see. We've been waiting on that for a long time. Since late August was our last named storm out here in the Atlantic basin, but it does look like it might take this familiar turn to the north and stay out over the open Atlantic. That would be great news, but it doesn't look at this point like it's going to come anywhere near the Gulf. So we'll keep you updated, but for now we are not expecting any sort of tropical threat, and we'll see how long this quieter stretch can go with that especially kind of stable, subsiding kind of air that we have over the Atlantic, plus some dry air, plus some increased wind shear, all of that hindering tropical formation. So Gabrielle, Umberto, and Imelda next up on the list, the next 3 names, but no real sign of that aside from possibly that wave becoming Gabrielle probably at the end of this upcoming week if it does. Heat and not so bad mornings are going to be here, and evenings as we head through the rest of this week.